Day 4 at the Sundance Film Festival. I'm John Horn.
And I'm Steve Zaitchik with the Los Angeles Times. We have our biggest sale of the festival, in fact, the only sale of the festival, as Buried goes to Lionsgate, a sort of logical place for it to go for $3.2 million. Small film.
To quote your favorite movie blogger, told ya. Story that you and I wrote before the festival started about how hot Park City at Midnight was going to be, and Buried sells for $3.2 million. I think the real question now, going into day 4, is that going to be it? Is there another movie that's going to get that kind of a deal?
Well, it's funny because you have sort of these high-profile movies that have mostly failed, and then you have these kind of smaller movies like Buried that have risen up. There's another wave of these high-profile movies coming in, particularly on the dramatic side. When you look yesterday, Blue Valentine, which is Michelle Williams and Ryan Gosling, two Sundance faves. The movie played very well, but it's a small film. You know, it's going to go to a small distributor who's going to have to build a campaign around it. I think we're going to see a few more of those today.
Maybe I think Extra Man was probably the biggest screening today. It's Paul Dano, who's in Little Miss Sunshine, and Kevin Kline.
And it's filmmakers who did American Splendor, which was a big hit here a bunch of years back. Also Holy Rollers, Jesse Eisenberg, had a story about Hasidic Jews smuggling ecstasy. I mean,
that sounds like a classic Sundance movie.
Exactly. Take 4 elements that you'd never expect and
Hasidic
put them
Jews,
together.
Ecstasy, 1990s Sundance movie.
Exactly.
And also last night was a crazy screening for Exit Through the Gift Shop, which is Banksy's film, documentary, narrative. You don't even know what
joke.
it is. Whatever it is about the British street artist. You were in the room. How did it play?
It played great. The thing about that movie is, obviously it has a real fan base. Banksy has a huge amount of fans. You wrote the story that's been getting retweeted all over. I think the question is, and this was a question for some of the acquisitions people who were in the room yesterday, is can you make this movie or can you play this movie and market this movie to more than just an art world constituency? Right. And I think once people will see it, someone compared it to Capturing the Freedmans, which is an interesting comparison, but it does have that sort of zigzag quality where you're never quite sure what it's really about. If you can kind of make it a sensation and make it into something almost cool and mysterious, I think you can make it work.
But I'd also say that art lovers are going to be interested in this movie, but he has hundreds of thousands of followers. I mean, I think he had a show a year ago and 300,000 people showed up for it in Bristol. So I think that movie's going to be an interesting test of what the market's going to be like. And what are you looking forward to seeing today?
Well, I've got Extra Man and Holy Rollers both on the docket, and there's another documentary which screened last night. In fact, when I was at the Banksy screening, Jeffrey Blitz, who had Spellbound here a couple of years ago, returns with Lucky, which is a documentary about lottery winners. They're kind of promoting it in a fairly sort of clever way. They're handing out lottery tickets. Again, the docs have been pretty, which could also apply to how the sales climate here at the festival. But, the docs have been pretty good. We've seen Catfish. We've now seen the Banksy movie. If Lucky plays and Pat Tillman has played well, it's just a question of, will anyone ante up for a sale on this?
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Lisa Cholodenko's The Kids Are All Right. I'm John Horn from the LA Times.
I'm Steve Zaitchik. We'll see you next time.